I propose to talk a little bit about what Revolution Number 9 was and what it purported to be. Article 9 of Japan's constitution after the war was a non-violence resolution. And the ingenues at Amnesty International created a psychological mechanism which evaluated the psyche of the human being who was nonviolent as someone who was self-destructive, gaslit, and taunted. And it's important to remember that the varmints of British rock, who oh so generously instigated a sex, drugs, and rock and roll culture to aid and abet human traffickers violently invading public schools, as they did in Pittsburgh, were pushing narcotics, but off the radars, off the set, behind the scenes, off camera. They were brutally torturing children. At least they brutally tortured me. Battered me, poisoned me, and they even wrote in their script, nearly killed me. And then they said, oh, but you swallowed. And Ringo Starr came alighting like the guardian angel of justice. He swallowed. He thinks he's the walrus. And they made it sound like Hallmark cards to give children LSD. The director's cut of Woodstock is absolutely sickening. And you're supposed to be considered a betrayer for saying that. Oh, well, the police very severely injured me. They were involved with the Beatles. The Beatles are like Bangladesh has been all week. Total blackout and deadly police violence. The police guards at the community colleges, for example, all know that Seattle police deliberately, scientifically gave me Parkinson's and have threatened me with much more deadly, permanent, lethal injuries. And they smile. There's the nonviolent one. You can come in and use the bathroom and piss on your jeans with your Parkinson urination. And this is the charismatics of Adrian Bloom, Peter Gabriel, coming to promote Revolution Number 9. It's very important to remember that the violence was police state violence. They say, oh, you're not a leader of the Green Revolution. I'm not a leader of the Green Revolution. I don't care to be. I don't murder my father. I don't murder school bus drivers. I'm a student who has been cheated of education because they made me deaf. And they say, oh, you evade, you go down the marked lane, you evade. And that's what they did. They swivel hips Kennedy because he was evading World War III. So he evaded, and so he's not military. He's not confrontation. He's not the ibis of Mein Kampf Ultra Secret. And it's important to remember these friendly people who nudge, tried this drug, were actually saying behind the scenes, well, when you use drugs, you take responsibility for the poison that's in them. And they were the ones who were pushing the drugs and making the poisons as punishment. So what you see is a curve towards lethal poison. And this curve towards lethal poison led into the trap on Mount Desert Island, where the girl had a tattoo of the Grim Reaper pointing at vagina and needle drugs. And they were calling this high-risk hazing. That sadist Ronald Reagan, his Eastwood cronies, were saying, well, we'll put Everett Coop, because it's a game of chicken, right? Coop, chicken coop, and co-op, that the chickens cooperate in their own demise. Because they were saying that the Russian Orthodox Church was obviously privy to this. They were like, well, sex is immoral. These people are indulgent. They're not the caliber of the moral warriors of sacred extremism. And so it's a divine justice curse. And the people who claim to be representing the gay community, like Diamanda Gallas was herself in immunogenetics and Satanism in the 70s. And she went with the anthrax people to pull out stilettos at the World Trade Center. This never gets discussed. You will never find a halfway, like George Galloway telling the truth about Cliff Robertson being above the World Trade Center in his private plane, and his career issues. Because his career is a storyline of enigma stalking. He played Kennedy in PT 109. It's enigma stalking from Hollywood, from Access Hollywood. They enigma stalked JFK and then poached him. And then they announced the greater enigma of the worldwide walrus on 911. And Bush said, take that beach. The Israelis, these people were in on the 911 attack. They were in on the anthrax and AIDS attacks. And then they go and tell us we're going to bomb Iraq. Iraq didn't have any sort of leadership role whatsoever, even by their farcical narrative about Osama bin Laden. And they were like, Obama bin Laden by Osama. Osama means super polite in Japanese. Osama sin radio. Obama sin radio.